A few years ago, my girlfriend introduced me to two of her friends, a married couple. We were all in our early 30s. I immediately got along well with the husband, let's call him Jack, who I share some hobbies with. 2 years ago, they divorced, and I stayed in loose contact with Jack. Last winter, he told my girlfriend and me in a private moment that he is also sexually attracted to men and has started discovering his bisexual side. I felt honored he would share this with us. And since I consider myself an ally and know how much fear of rejection comes with coming out, I started inviting him over more often and showing more interest in his life. Basically, ever since, my girlfriend has not stopped making sarcastic remarks whenever I hang out with Jack alone, which happens maybe once or twice a month. For example, when I helped him move his belongings to a new apartment, she would frown and say, "Oh, interesting. Why would he ask you out of all of his friends?" When I tell her I'm going to the gym and Jack is coming, she responds, "Well, of course he is." I'm aware this might sound like she is picking up on some gay vibes from my side and therefore reacts in a jealous way. But there are no gay vibes. Jack and I are good friends, and I have been good friends with gay people before. I am straight and wouldn't be afraid to admit intimacy interest in men if I had any. I just don't. A few weeks ago, Jack invited us to a dinner party he hosted with a guy he is currently seeing. He kind of wanted to introduce him to us. At the party, he told me they wanted to go out clubbing afterward and that I should come. I should probably say, Jack and I have talked about going clubbing together for a long time but never went. We live in a city with some decent nightlife and love the same kind of music. My girlfriend, on the other hand, is not a big clubber and has been jealous of me going dancing without her before. I should also add, when we first met 4 years ago, I was quite promiscuous, and we lived in a mutually agreed upon non-monogamy that I had asked for, and we ended it when she felt too uncomfortable about it. So me proposing the idea of going out often triggers some bad memories for her. Back to the dinner party. When I suggested to my girlfriend that the two of us could join Jack and his guy at the club, she reacted very dismissively. To be fair, she is going through a rough patch at work at the moment. She said she wasn't in the mood to party at all, and since I knew about her situation, it was very insensitive of me to even propose that. She made it clear she would be highly disappointed if I were to join the two by myself. So I didn't, but I resented her for it. Of course, the next day we had a big fight, and I told her I think it's hateful to continuously suggest Jack is trying to hit on me or get into my pants by hanging out with me. She, on the other hand, claims I'm just too naive to see it, or that I might even feel flattered by being around a guy who shows so much affection toward me. To me, this feels both frustrating and hurtful. It reminds me of all the jealousy we went through repeatedly in our non-monogamous times, and it makes me sad she would distrust me and my judgment so much after 4 years together. I have never cheated on her with a woman, let alone with a man. But she took offense at me trying to keep the relationship open in the beginning and will regularly let me know. In the past, I have tried to counteract her jealousy by not going out much and not seeing women I knew might be into me. But now that she even applies her jealousy to a male friend, a friend she introduced to me, I'm questioning this whole relationship. Is there anything I can do about her insecurity, other than quitting my friendship with Jack, which is a red line because it would feel so ridiculous? Or are we doomed, and this absurd behavior is just a sign that I should have seen a long time ago? Now for a few comments before the update. Comment 1. I was ready to call your girlfriend a hateful bigot in the beginning, but you really buried the lead. You started your relationship with non-monogamy, which you knew she didn't like. It's on her too for accepting a situation she was uncomfortable with, but it doesn't seem like she ever got over it. Your timing of rekindling your friendship is odd, combined with the fact she already has trust issues with you. You were in loose contact with this guy for years. Then he tells you he's exploring relationships with men, and suddenly you're hanging out with him one-on-one all the time? And talking about going to a club with him? I don't think you should cut off your friend, but I do think you should be more mindful of the kind of one-on-one interactions you have with him. Comment 2. Not mentioning that you pushed her into non-monogamy in your post, and thus omitting any context for her jealousy to paint it as purely her being biphobic, is kind of disingenuous. She could be phobic, she could be upset, you pressured her into non-monogamy, and started hanging out more with someone who just expressed attraction to your intimacy. It isn't good optics, regardless of how rational or irrational her feelings are. You're incompatible at best and kind of a jerk at worst. Now for the update. 2 days after me and the GF had that huge argument, I got a text from Jack. He invited me to a birthday party for one of his friends. I was like, wow, this guy really wants me to be his plus one, huh? So I mentioned the invite to my girlfriend, thinking she'd be happy for me to go out and have fun. But she just rolled her eyes and asked if I really wanted to go. That was super weird. I told her, yeah, it sounds fun. But then she goes on about how she doesn't want to be the bad guy. Like, what is that supposed to mean? She basically implied that Jack is a bad influence, which ticked me off. Come on, I'm a grown man. If I want to go to some guy's party, I can do that without my girlfriend acting like my mom. I went to the party and the atmosphere was lively. There was laughter, loud music, people just having a good time. Jack introduced me to his friends and they were all super welcoming and friendly. I felt like a part of the crew, which was nice. But then, I noticed Jack was acting a bit flirtatious with this guy named Mark. And I won't lie, it made me a little uncomfortable. The guy was cool and all, but watching Jack flirt with him was like, I don't know, it just reminded me of that old jealousy thing with my girlfriend. I tried to shake off those thoughts. As the night went on, I noticed my girlfriend had posted on social media, showing she was out with friends at a bar. I felt a bit of a stab in my gut, but I tried to brush it off. I texted her to let her know I was at Jack's party, but she didn't respond. That kind of sucked, but whatever, right? Jack then suggested we go to a club after the birthday party. I hesitated for a sec, thinking about how my girlfriend would feel, but I didn't want to be that guy who turns down a club invitation. So I agreed. At the club, I felt out of place. Like, really out of place. Jack was dancing with Mark, and I just stood there awkwardly on the side, kind of wishing my girlfriend was there. Eventually, I decided to join them on the dance floor, trying to enjoy the moment. But every time I looked over, there was Jack with his arms around Mark, and it felt like I was just an extra in the background. I tried to call my girlfriend during the night, but she didn't answer. I wasn't expecting her to, but still. I felt like I needed to talk to her about all this, you know? Eventually, Jack and Mark left the dance floor together, and I felt abandoned. I decided to leave the club early, feeling frustrated and confused. On the way home, I saw my girlfriend's Instagram story showing her partying with another guy. That pretty much sealed the deal for me. I was already feeling low, and seeing that just made it worse. The following morning, I confronted my girlfriend about her night out. She casually brushed it off, saying it was no big deal, they were just having fun. I brought up Jack and how I felt left out, but she dismissed it like it was nothing. She said it wasn't the same, and that really irked me. I told her she was being hypocritical, and she snapped back saying I was the one who was too close to Jack. Then things got heated. We had this huge exchange, screaming at each other. She ended up storming out of the apartment, saying she needed space. I was left standing there, feeling like a mess. I decided to call Jack, wanting to vent about my girlfriend and everything that was going on. But when I called, Jack seemed distracted. He said he would call back later, but I could tell something was up. Later that evening, I got a text from Jack saying he was with Mark and they were dating now. I can't even explain how that hit me. I was happy for him, but at the same time, my life was a complete mess. The next day, my girlfriend came back and we sat down to talk. She looked a bit different, like she had been thinking a lot. She revealed that she wanted to take a break from our relationship to figure things out. That hit me hard. She mentioned feeling uncomfortable with my friendship with Jack, which I hadn't realized was so serious for her. I thought we had a good understanding of things, you know? She stood up and said she needed time to think without me around. I just sat there, watching her leave, feeling so lost. I packed up my things, feeling uncertain about my next steps. Edit. After the argument, I realized that my girlfriend had been hiding some of her feelings about Jack and our friendship. Some commenters suggested that I had been blind to her jealousy, and I think they were right. I didn't fully grasp how much my friendship with Jack bothered her. I also learned that many people in the comments have been in similar situations, balancing friendships and relationships, which has been really eye-opening for me. Am I the idiot for confronting my husband's coworker after discovering their secret lunch plans? Last year, I, a 29-year-old female, discovered that my husband, a 33-year-old male, was cheating on me with another woman who was a friend from his past. He claims that nothing physical happened, but I absolutely define his interactions as cheating. Heavily sexually charged conversations, sexting, wrote poems for her, sent her love songs that reminded him of her, deleted, hid, and lied about their interactions, etc. Since his unfaithfulness last year, I have had a very hard time moving past what happened. I feel very insecure and don't trust him the way that I did before. He and I haven't talked about the situation from last year really since it happened. I hate confrontation, and he often runs away from heavy conversations, leading me to mask my feelings at times to keep the peace. I have tried a few sessions of therapy on my own and definitely recognize that I need to continue that for myself. Within a few weeks of discovering this last year, a new female began working with him. Let's call her Jane. He was working for a buddy of his in a very small office setting, but his boss and buddy was never there. A majority of the work days, it was just my husband and Jane in a small office space, 8 hours a day, 5 days a week. He had previously complained about her a decent amount and would tell me that he didn't love working with her and that she was always in a bad mood, which put him in a bad mood as well. Despite him claiming he didn't care for Jane as a coworker, he seemed to talk about her quite a lot. Fast forward to today, he has just recently started a new job with a better schedule, pay, benefits, etc. Selfishly, I was extra excited for this change as it meant that he would be in a new environment and no longer working with Jane. I thought that would help me regain some peace of mind. Jane is around our same age and is single and attractive, so I've felt uncomfortable with them working so close together, especially right after his infidelity. I started feeling anxious and had the same gut feeling I had when I discovered the transgressions last year. Admittedly, though I am not proud of it, I looked through some of their messages over the weekend. It seems they've been texting each other almost daily since he started his new job, with him initiating most conversations. I also saw a message where she thanked him for the card and a small gift. Through context, it appears that he left this for her on his last day, and it took her a couple of days to find it. The small gift was a custom guitar pick with his name on it because he is a musician. It is suspicious to me that he gave her a card and a sentimental gift when he left, especially when he had talked so negatively about her many times. More suspiciously, he had deleted 4 messages in the conversation, but he may not know that these messages are saved in a folder for 30 days on iPhone. I recovered the deleted messages, and what he deleted was a photo she sent him of the guitar pick, her saying she hadn't noticed it until several days later, that they have drinks pending, and a message she reacted to of him saying he's glad she liked the gift. Now, after discovering that they're still talking frequently and that he left her the card and gift, I am suspicious that there's something going on between them because he's repeating his pattern of hiding and deleting things and, in general, being dishonest. He doesn't know that I snooped and I feel terrible that I did, but at the same time I felt that I really needed to know. The other issue that stems from having looked, though, is that I feel this constant need to check now to see if there are more messages between them. I guess what I'm hoping for advice on is if I am overreacting or overly paranoid about the situation. I haven't seen any intimacy conversation between them, but I find it very suspicious that he gave her a gift and a card while there's no indication that he left trinkets or cards for his boss or buddy at all. Should I have a conversation with him about Jane and see if he is willing to share their messages with me himself? Thank you in advance for your advice and for reading. Now for a few comments before the update. Comment 1. I think your husband has at least a problem with setting proper boundaries with women. and that's the best case scenario. I would have a talk with him, 2 envelopes, one with a list of therapists for individual counseling and/or marriage counseling, and the other for divorce. Life is too short, OP, to have to be policing your partner, feeling anxious every day about whether he is behaving in a way that is respectful and appropriate for someone who is married. Comment 2. He cheated, so he should have no expectations of privacy on his phone, in his emails, or any other method of communication. Personally, I'm asking why you don't force him to sit down and discuss why you should stay and not divorce him. Point out how he destroyed all of your trust in him the last time, and now he is doing it again. Since he can't or won't learn how to be faithful, why should you stay? Now for the update. I'm still dealing with the mess after finding out my husband's been emotionally cheating. A week after seeing the message from Jane, I decided to confront my husband about his texts with her. I couldn't keep ignoring all these obvious signs. I asked him straight up about the gift he gave her. He looked surprised, saying it was just a friendly thing. I pushed him on how often they texted, and he said they were just talking about work stuff. I wanted to scream, but I kept it together for now. My sister invited me to her birthday party the next weekend. I brought my husband along, trying to keep things as normal as possible, even though my gut was telling me something was off. During the party, I overheard my brother joking about a surprise party for my sister. My husband stepped out to take a phone call. I don't know why, but it seemed sketchy. When he came back, he acted like nothing happened. I casually mentioned my husband's weird behavior to my sister, who was also worried. It felt good to have someone else notice the weirdness. I saw my husband kept glancing at his phone while talking to other guests, which just made me more anxious. The next day, I decided to check his phone while he was in the shower. I know, I felt bad about snooping, but I was in too deep. I found more messages from Jane that he had deleted. They were planning to meet up for lunch that week, pretending it was a work thing. I found out he even texted her saying he was looking forward to their chat. I reached out to a mutual colleague who worked with them to get more info. It felt like I was in some kind of messed up spy movie. I learned that Jane had been spreading rumors about my husband and me. I found out she told others at work he was unhappy in our marriage. That hit me really hard. I decided to show up at his office during their lunch. I arranged to have lunch with a friend at the same restaurant where they were meeting. I got there early and sat where I could see them without being noticed. I watched as they chatted, and I could tell he was laughing way more than usual. I caught the moment they hugged goodbye, and it made me so mad. I approached them just as they were finishing their conversation. I introduced myself to Jane, who looked shocked. I asked her about the rumors she had been spreading at work. My husband turned pale and tried to explain, but I cut him off. I confronted Jane about the messages and the gifts, making it clear I knew everything. She stammered, trying to defend herself. I told her to stop contacting my husband immediately and to keep my name out of her conversations. I walked away, leaving them both speechless. My husband chased after me, demanding to know what just happened. I explained that I saw everything and that I wouldn't put up with his lack of respect for our marriage. We had a heated argument in the parking lot. He promised to cut off all communication with her that night. The following week, he deleted Jane from his contacts in front of me. We agreed to go to couples therapy to deal with the issues in our relationship. Things have been rocky since then, and I still have a long way to go before I fully trust him again. But for now, we're trying to make it work, and I'm determined to come out stronger. Edit. After the confrontation, Jane apologized and claimed she was only interested in my husband professionally. He believes her. Am I the idiot for confronting my wife about her friendship with a coworker and demanding answers? My relationship of 9 years feels like it's over. I, a 28-year-old man, have been with my wife, a 27-year-old woman, since I was 19. We have been married for 2 years and have 2 kids, a 3-year-old and a 4-month-old. Today, as we were driving home from dropping our oldest off for a sleepover at their grandparents', she told me she couldn't wait to go back to work. She was on bonding leave. When I asked her why, she said she did not like being at home. We kept talking, and that's when she admitted she no longer felt attracted to me. She has always identified as bisexual, but now feels like she is more homosexual. She told me she still loved me, but felt like she was denying a part of herself, and now felt confused. I always knew she was bisexual, and I was clear with her that I was strictly monogamous, but could be open to the idea of a threesome to help fulfill her needs. She says she isn't seeing anyone else, but I have noticed her dressing up more and going out with friends, though that could just be me being paranoid. I had previously mentioned to her that she seemed distant these past few weeks, but she brushed it off and even tried to plan a date for us next week. I feel so hurt and betrayed. I thought I would be with her forever, and we would grow old and see our kids grow up. I was by no means the perfect husband and father, but I tried my best. She has an autoimmune disease and suffers from depression and anxiety, so I would have to do a bit extra around the house. I work from home, so I was spending most of my time with our girls. I enjoy cooking, so I would also do a majority of the cooking. She would have outbursts and times when she was not being the nicest and we argued, but I would try to be the one to apologize and compromise first. I tried to do all these things and be understanding of her limitations. I don't know what I did wrong or could have done differently. I asked if she wanted to try counseling or to spend more time together, but she said she doesn't think it will help. I'm hoping that she comes back to her senses or realizes she is making a mistake. I was trying to figure out what I can do to change her mind, but she says nothing will help. I can't stop crying thinking about not being around my girls or the fact that it will be my daughter's first Christmas, and she won't even have one as a family. I love her so much, and I don't know if I can be without her. She is my best friend and the mother of my kids. To me, she is the most beautiful woman in the world, and I was so excited for our future together. It all feels like it's slipping through my fingers, and I don't know what to do. Now for a few comments before the update. Comment 1. You start working with her on an amicable divorce and how to co-parent your kids well after divorce. When a person tells you what she told you, your marriage is done, and trying to hang on will only bring you a lot of emotional pain. Comment 2. End the marriage now. Forget saving it. I wouldn't waste a moment more if my wife told me what your wife told you. I hope you both make about the same and all that. Speak to a lawyer and protect yourself. Now, for the update. It's been over a week since I got hit with the news about my wife. A lot has happened. She went back to work a few days ago. Honestly, it kinda changed the vibe at home. I mean, it wasn't exactly a party before, but now it feels like there's this new thing in the air. She's been spending more time on her phone during dinner, like we're trying to have family time, and she's just glued to her screen. It's a little annoying, but I tried to ignore it for a bit. One night, I overheard her on a video call with someone named Sarah. I was in the kitchen cleaning up after dinner, and she was in the living room. I couldn't catch everything, but I heard her say, "I really like it when you do that." I almost dropped the plate I was holding. I asked her who Sarah was, and she just shrugged it off. Said it was just a coworker. Just a coworker? Yeah, right. My sister invited us to a barbecue at her place this weekend. I thought it'd be good for us to get out of the house, so I said yes. Before the barbecue, I decided to confront my wife about my concerns. I mean, we can't keep ignoring this, right? During dinner, I brought up her phone habits and the call with Sarah. She dismissed my worries, saying I was overreacting and being controlling. Overreacting? I think I'd know if I was overreacting. Then she accused me of not trusting her, and that's when things got heated. We got into it, yelling back and forth. She ended up storming out of the room, leaving me to deal with the kids. The next day, my sister called to check in on us before the barbecue. She could tell something was off, and suggested I talk to my wife again before things got worse. I didn't want to, but I knew I had to. At the barbecue, things were okay for a bit. My brother made a toast, which lightened the mood. But then I caught my wife texting someone while pretending to engage in the conversation. This is ridiculous, I thought. I decided to keep my mouth shut for the time being. Didn't want to ruin the day for everyone else. After the barbecue, things went downhill. We got into another argument about her phone use. She just can't see how much it's bothering me. A couple of days later, she asked if I could take the kids to the park. I agreed, but told her I wanted to talk about our issues afterward. While at the park, I saw her car parked near a coffee shop, but she wasn't there. I went inside to grab a drink and saw her sitting with a woman. I tried to be discreet while watching them, but I probably looked like a total creep. I overheard snippets of their conversation, things about feelings and attraction. I thought I was going to throw up. I confronted her later that night and asked why she didn't tell me she was meeting someone. She said it was just a friend and they were talking about work-related issues. I suggested we should go to counseling again, but she hesitated. I get it, but we need to do something. A few days passed and I noticed her spending more nights out with friends. I feel like I'm losing her even more every day. I started looking into couples counseling myself. I wanted to be prepared. I found a therapist and scheduled an appointment for the following week. When I told her about the appointment, she seemed to soften a bit. She agreed to come with me, saying she was willing to try. I don't know what that means yet, but it's better than nothing. By the end of the week, we decided to take a weekend trip with the kids. We needed to get away from everything and focus on our family. Let's see where that goes. Edit. We attended a family therapy session where my wife opened up about her struggles with her identity and connection to me. It was a tough conversation, but it felt like a step forward. If you like this video, you'll probably like these too. Also, while you're here, please consider subscribing. It's your support that keeps this channel alive and allows me to make better and longer videos. Have a great day.